Sometimes a video game series outgrow the thing that brought it to the dance in the first place. And in 2006, that's exactly what happened to WWE games. You see, this was the era of the HD consoles, the next gen systems. And obviously, besides the fact that now the graphics are going to look even better, people are expecting better gameplay, better everything across the board. THQ and Ukes were not going to make the same mistake that they did with Just Bring It, where although it was a PS2 game, it still pretty much played like the PlayStation 1 games that came before it. They knew that with this next installment of SmackDown vs. Raw series, it couldn't just look better, it had to feel better. So they decided to look at the one part of this series that they haven't really touched, and for a very good reason. Because you see, up until this point, the WWE games had a very pick up and play factor. You can just pick it up, and within one or two matches, you automatically learn the controls. However, to take advantage of the new hardware and to finally establish itself as a brand new identity in the SmackDown vs. Raw series, they decide to abandon that control layout and go for the analog sticks. You have more of a simulation, a hybrid of a simulation and arcade style gameplay that they were trying to grow to SmackDown vs. Raw series. The result, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. The first WWE game in HD, the first WWE game to be on a system other than Sony, and the first WWE game that changed how we played wrestling games. Now, apologies. We're going to be looking at this interview by GameSpot. And it's actually it's actually Games Radar. My apologies. I'm not going to look at much of it. I really want to point out this thing right here. This little article right here, because this is going to play a big role in this beginning part of the stream. So on May 5th, 2006, this was a big year for WWE SmackDown, a long running wrestling series, even though it was called SmackDown vs. Raw. The thing I really want you to see is the systems that SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 will be coming out on: the PS2, the PSP, the PS3, and the Xbox 360. We'll get to that in a second. But the one part I want to go over is when this guy asked about the future of the other WWE gaming series that were on the Xbox and the GameCube. So he asks, so are you drawing a line under past franchise like WrestleMania and Day of Reckoning? Here's what they had to say. We're not saying that. There's always opportunities for different titles to appear, especially for the Wii and DS. We don't have any announcements or anything planned for those platforms yet, but there's always a possibility. Let me tell you the reality of what happened. So, little backstory. As the SmackDown vs. Raw series been on PlayStation, and with 2006 also be on the PSP, it was essentially exclusive to PlayStation. At 2005, we had the final release of a WWE game on Nintendo GameCube, which was Day of Reckoning 2, and then also WrestleMania 21. WrestleMania 21, unfortunately, despite it looking like the most realistic wrestling game at the time, it kind of bombed because of just how bad it was, just glitched out. Everything, it just did not work. They had to re-release the game with a patch. It was just ridiculous. And Day of Reckoning 2 actually sold well. As you can see, it's the player choice. However, there's multiple factors why both of these series ended, and THQ and Ukes decided to go the direction that they went. For starters, it's just the system themselves. The Xbox, although a powerful system, more powerful than the GameCube and the PS2, not a lot of people bought it. So it was just the reality. The Xbox 360, on the other hand, turned course corrected for Microsoft, so everyone was adopting to that system. So there was no need to bring the series over to the Xbox, which leaves the GameCube. Now, the GameCube in and of itself is actually way more powerful than the PS2. Some ports of PS2 games, that any like multi-platform game, always look better on the GameCube compared to the PS2 for the most part. Perfect example, Resident Evil 4, Sonic Heroes, even the Dragon Ball Budokai series. If any of you guys had played those, I played 2 to 3 personally, and I can always tell you those games looked way better on the GameCube than the PS2. So why did they never bring the SmackDown vs. Raw series or even the SmackDown series to GameCube? Well, I think the biggest issue holding the GameCube back, there was no dedicated online. Despite the fact that it was in its infancy in the PS2 with the first game being SmackDown vs. Raw, there was no like dedicated online. And just in general, that kind of hurt Nintendo as a system for the GameCube itself. There was just no dedicated online, and this just also they didn't adapt the DVD that both PS2 and the Xbox had. So there's just multiple factors why the GameCube didn't sell as much as it should have, because it was all, in all honesty, very powerful system. It was more powerful than PS2. So that's what happened. And again, Destiny 2 wasn't a bad game, but with no one really buying the GameCube, and it was already at the end of its lifespan with the Wii, both the Wii and PS3 coming out in 2006, there was no need to release it on GameCube. And as I already mentioned, this was not the first. I mean, SmackDown vs. Raw was now just not on PS2. It was just not on, also on PSP. It was also now on the Xbox 360. And THQ and Yuke's really were confident with the Xbox 360. So much so that all the marketing was dedicated towards the next-gen systems for the Xbox 360 and the PS3 versions of these games. Like the PS2 and PSP are now the secondary systems. We're not marketing those. We're just marketing the Xbox 360 because they really want to show this is the first WWE, the WWE game in HD. They really want to show off the graphical power in that. So the forefronters of this was going to be Xbox 360 and PS3. Well, as you saw that article, the date of that article was May 5th. A little less than 2 weeks later, there's another article that pops up via IGN. And, well, I'll let you guys read it. Before that, there was a world premiere. Once again, everyone assumed it was coming out on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, the PS2, and PSP. But immediately, right after that, there's a report. The PS3 SmackDown 07 is SmackDown. And for make a long story short, the PS3 version wasn't coming out. There's multiple reasons why. The biggest reason, or the two biggest reasons, is one, the PS3 technically wasn't going to be out yet. It was going to be out a little over a week after the release of SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, so it could have potentially been a launch title. Another reason is because not a lot of people really knew how to make PS3 games back. The PS3 was kind of hard to make games on in the like first 1 or 2 years. So I guess they didn't want to risk trying to port that game over there and didn't know what they were doing. The Xbox 360 being out a year prior in 2005, they kind of had an idea of how to work that system. So ultimately, the PS3 version of this game never came out, and they were going to hold off until the next installment, which was SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. I bring that up because it kind of plays into a little story that I'd like to talk about a little later with this game involving the marketing. But yeah, so now with that said, there's only 3 versions of this game: the PS2, the PSP, and the Xbox 360. For the case of this stream, we're going to be showcasing the Xbox 360 version. Now, if you indulge me for one moment as I set that up. All right, got it. We should be good. Just sitting in the background this whole time. So, fun fact. Again, can't play the soundtrack because copyright, but this, yes, we will be talking about the greatest soundtrack of all time with this game. We're going to be talking about it. But fun fact, I never actually owned the Xbox 360 version of this game until a couple years ago. I originally bought this on the PS2. And I really didn't notice the difference back then between the Xbox 360 and the PS2 when I saw the few videos of it on YouTube. So I thought I pretty much had the okay version. But now looking at it now, it's like, yeah, I kind of was playing the inferior version. I had no idea it looked this good. I'm not saying the PS2 version was bad, but I had no idea it looked this good. Now, you're probably wondering why I am going to the menu is because, as I told you earlier, the whole control layout changed in this game. So what better way, instead of me explaining it, they knew it was going to be a big deal. They actually put out tutorial movies. So we're going to watch them to show you how much the gameplay actually changed.
To walk, simply move the left stick in whatever direction you'd like your superstar to go. To run, press the Y button as well.
Can't see it. Oh, wait a minute. You guys can't hear it.
To initiate one of 4 different
My apologies. I forgot there's no audio in there. Essentially, they're just showing the new control layout, which I'll just demonstrate anyway. That was my bad. I completely forgot that screen doesn't have any audio. I was looking at OBS like, why is there no audio playing? That was so strange. My apologies, guys. So why not pick Triple H as cover superstar, and we're going to be facing newcomer Bobby Lashley. Why not use SummerSlam? Yeah, I mean, first things first, you can already tell the graphical leap from the PS2 game to the Xbox 360. It's really a sight to see. And also, the loading screens are actually different at Xbox 360 than the PS2. They change. The PS2 only just has one per superstar per loading screen, but the Xbox 360 they swap them out during the loading screen.
The contest is scheduled for one fall. On the way to the ring, from Greenwich, Connecticut, weighing in at 260 pounds, Triple H.
I think it's always good showcasing Triple H, because since his entrance has a lot of lighting, you just see how much of the lighting has changed from the PS2 game from the Xbox 360. Like, honest to God, the graphics of this game still hold up to this day now that I'm looking at it. Like, we thought it could not get realistic than this. I mean, than this. This was just incredible. Even on the PS2 version, honestly, it still looked fine to me when I had it on the PS2. I guess because since I didn't have an HD TV at that time, I couldn't really tell the difference from what I was looking at from the PS2, or since I even had the Xbox 360, keep that in mind. I couldn't really tell the difference when I saw it on YouTube. So, but playing in a few years ago myself for the first time when I bought 360, is like, damn, this is what I was missing out on. I could have been playing this back in 2006 if my family had the money back then. We weren't the richest of people. Like, literally everything has been updated in this game. It's just kind of funny how much faith they had in the Xbox 360. Although it does make me wonder if they were able to develop on the PS3, would have been marketing that more. Okay, it would have been a launch title essentially for the PS3. This game came out literally, I think, within the same week as both the PS3 and the Wii. So that would have been an interesting launch title for the PS3. And I guess they didn't. Oh, we'll let Tony Chimble talk.
From Colorado Springs, Colorado, weighing in at 275 pounds, Bobby Lashley.
And yes, this was the start of a brand new championships in the game. Like, they finally updated them from Here Comes the Pain. Or should I say, yeah, from Here Comes the Pain. Or Shut Your Mouth even. They finally updated the titles. They are, granted, smaller because they aren't humongous on the waist. I would say some of them are like way too small. But yes, they correctly updated them thanks to, I guess, jumping from the X to the Xbox 360. Although the PS2 versions were updated as well. But they just looked so much more better than like the humongous versions of them. in the SmackDown versus Raw 2006. Do you like how they swap out the loading screens? Oh yeah, Melina did debut in this game. I completely forgot. So I'll try to talk about the different controls. And yes, we're going to talk about the ultimate controls as well. So essentially, the only thing that the face buttons do at this moment is the run. That's still a thing. B is now to recover your stamina. The grapple is literally now the control sticks. So essentially, flicking the right control stick up, up, down, left, and right, they do a quick attack. And then holding the R1 button will let you do a strong grapple. And reversing are still the same with both the L2 and R2. I forgot what the A button does, to be honest. I think the A button is just to actually get out the ring. And X is to strike. But otherwise, yeah, I think if I remember correctly, yep, A is to get out the ring. X is to strike. I forgot what the... I think A is also... That's that. So what the heck is L? I mean, yeah. But that's pretty much it. The controls are now... And to do an ultimate control, you have to press R3 when you're in one of the strong grapples. And now you're literally in control of doing the suplex the way you want, a body slam, all that good stuff. And now Bobby Lashley's doing it. I don't know what the smiling face is for, but thank you for stopping by, Neonzo. But in terms of, even though, so despite the fact though, it's on the Xbox 360, there was basically no difference between the two outside just graphically. So unlike the PSP version, where there was many minor differences that made a difference, although you got the full experience. Outside the graphics, they were basically the same game. Although I do wonder, since I never had the PSP version, how did the controls work on there since there's essentially no right analog stick? Or is there? I'll see when I'm done. All right. And I would say the recovering your stamina in this game is a lot faster than 06. I think that was a drag, but this is way more quicker. In the next match, I'm gonna do hardcore so I can show you the environmental gravels. And yes, for the first time, you could finally fight in that crowd over there, which I'll showcase. Yes, just like in 06, the finisher situation is still the same. And now the pin, you have to flick the right the right stick down when they're on the ground. And he somehow kicked out. That's fair. And I can complain to the ref despite the fact that I'm a face. That would probably drag down my momentum. I'm surprised it didn't. And I believe the submission system is still the same. Although this, I think, is the last time. Yeah, the 100% is the last time of this submission style, where there's two different versions. Either the tapping or trying to hit it in one of the blue or red spots when it commands to. He was bleeding very fast. But getting used to this control system, honestly, as a kid, I never really had an issue with the analog controls. I thought they were like, I can understand why people were upset because now it's not for a beginner. I guess it pays to play the game. As a beginner, probably just figuring out how to grapple with the right stick and whatnot. But it just feels a lot, to me, it feels a lot better when you do it on the analog. I know people like didn't like the analog controls during the entire SmackDown Raw era. I personally never had an issue. And I also didn't have an issue with being on the face button because at the end of the day, it was just how they were trying to present the game. When it was face buttons, it made sense for it to be an arcade. Tekken is like a perfect example of how, again, you just pick up and play. So for wrestling, it being on the face button, it makes sense. But now we're in this weird hybrid of simulation and arcade. So switching up the analog controls would be something. And as I said, part of the reason is because they finally wanted to get away get away from the SmackDown identity. And what better way to do it than to switch up the controls? Why am I not be able to hit the finisher? That's so strange. Trying to figure out how do you pick up. Forgot what button it was to pick up your opponent. Is it clicking? I wonder if is it clicking? Yep. So to click R3 to pick up your opponent. And also hold R3 to drag. Yeah, I was wondering back in my head since they switched up the controls. And there you go.
Here's your winner, Triple H.
And by the way, for some reason, again, the sound, the mixing of the sound. So the commentators are a part of the SFX sound. So if I were to cut that off, there would be basically zero silence along with everything else. So you wouldn't be able to hear the moves. So I had to keep that on. So that's why I hear the commentator. I mean, I have no problem with the commentators, but it is what it is. And yes, even with the Xbox 360, you still had to save a lot. A lot. So now we're going to go to the hardcore, which I forgot is still classified under main event. And just, again, show you the titles. The only new title that they added was the Smoking Skull Championship. And yes, once again, you have to unlock the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title in season mode. I don't blame them because it gives you a reason to play it, but it's just, you always have to unlock these. And now they add the Smoking Skull. Just wanted to show that off real quick. We are going to do hardcore because, or Fall Count Anywhere, is there really a difference? We're going to do hardcore. Because now, for the first time since, let's see who we picking. We'll pick Edge. Big Show. Someone new. Have I used Chris Masters? No. We'll just use New Year's Revolution. Just want to showcase the crowd again. They, in the current games, I mean, the current games, it's fine. That's all I can say. It's fine. but it's not like, I feel like this little spot. Oh yes, I want to showcase us. I love how at least they have Edge come out with the title. Obviously, you can't do this in the modern games.
From Toronto,
Just 1 second.
Canada, weighing in at 241 pounds, Edge.
So you can actually, yes, when the spinner title was still a thing, you can actually spin it if Edge will stop moving. See right there, if Edge will stop moving. Yeah, he's like the worst example. He's moving. But yes, you can actually spin the title. Yes, I know people don't like the spinning title. I personally thought it was cool. Back when I was a kid. And I still, it was for the era. I know people hate it, but it's sold like hotcakes. So it goes to show the minority was talking about it. It represents Cena now. Should have had lasted as long as it did. That's another, especially when Cena didn't really hold the title much after that. Should have lasted as long as it did. Like, for example, when CM Punk had it. Should he probably retired it? Sure, but this era was perfectly fine. And if it was making them money off the belts, why would they switch it? It would just make no sense. So I understand that part. Did it overstay its welcome? Probably. I mean, I think it's like the longest duration championship design in quite some time. From like 2005 to 2012. No, 2013. So damn near a decade. That design held up. I think actually the current WWE title design eclipsed it. That debuted in 2004. Yeah, actually, the current WWE Championship design eclipsed it. So there you go. Funny how that works. And I don't see them changing that title anytime soon. Yes, these guys weren't the brightest. Forgot how you Irish whip someone. But you can at least drag them. Again, just showing off the environmental controls. And it does take a lot of your I mean, so at least you can't spam the environmental controls. I can understand that, but it definitely takes a lot. The only thing I forgot is how do you I honest to God forgot how you Irish whip someone. Is it can't be B, is it? No. Is it A? Is it A? No, it can't be A. How do you Irish whip someone? I honest to God forgot. Huh. Should probably look that up. It's not gonna tell me in the I'm trying to is it can't be the triggers. Is it R1? I'm trying to figure out what R1 does. I'm actually gonna have to look up the controls. I literally forgot. Oh my god. It's so crazy. That's the only way I can see him getting out the ring, because I don't think this CPU is that smart. I better learn, because the next match I'm going to showcase kind of has to. It's the only brand new match type in the game. Okay. If I genuinely forgot. How does one Irish whip someone? But yes, you can see get in the crowd, and if Chris Masters was smart, he would come in the crowd. Well, actually, as he is just standing there like an idiot, or I guess he's coming. I was gonna look up how to Irish whip, but that can wait. And yes, you can pretty much interact with everything here. Which I wish you could technically, I mean, you could kind of do it in the newer games, but not really. You just broke the TV right there. I'm clicking R3, but that's not it. Uh-huh. I can drag him. And yes, you can climb that thing up top. I'm going to try to do it. Normally you set them up on the table to do it. I'm actually at a loss. I genuinely do not remember how to Irish whip someone. One of the most basic things. I should look at tutorial. Master all the other controls except for that one. He's already doing the master lock on me. Luckily, we are out here and this is not false count anywhere. Hold on, let me see something. One second, guys. One second. That is super loud. My apologies. You guys hear me? This audio is kind of weird. One second. I could not hear myself. Okay, you can hear me. It's just my the way this is set up is it's cool. It's all good. I honest to God do not remember how to freaking Irish whip. It's R1, X, B is to regain stamina, A is to get out the ring. Is it L? It can't be L1 because L1 is the finisher. How the hell do you? It's like a combination of X and. I genuinely do not remember. I'm flabbergasted. Flabbergasted. How do you Irish whip? You like? It has to be this. Okay. We'll just try to end this right now. I'm gonna have to learn to do it for the next match. I could just look it up, which is what I'm about to do right now. So bear with me one moment as the credits play for this. I thought I would have memory, but that's not the case. I genuinely forgot.
Here's your winner.
Oh, it's R1 and A. That's such a weird. If it is, that's weird, very weird. I don't know how that would work. Huh. I'll try, because the next match, which is the brand new one, I'll try. Oh, and then one thing I forgot to point out, unlike 2006 that you see the entrance is playing for certain spots. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted because of that. The intro music for SmackDown are always playing on the side. At some points. So the new match in here is technically, I mean, it is new. The match itself is new. It's Money in the Bank. Obviously, it's a 6-person ladder match. And because of that, they also changed the system of how you get the title. Before you just grab it and call it a day. But now it's a tad bit different. I'll pick Shawn Michaels because why not? Matt Hardy. Joey Mercury. He's always good in ladder matches. Nothing bad ever happens to him. Super Crazy. No, we already dealt with Edge. Paul Burchill, which I believe is his only appearance. Super Crazy. And we just did Triple H. Umaga, who's also a new person. And we'll just do SmackDown. Actually, we just did SmackDown, didn't we? Didn't we? No, we did New Year's resolution. We'll cut off the entrance. If that is Irish Whip, I will genuinely be shocked. But yeah, 6 people in the ring. Keep in mind, Just Bring It had 8 people. So make of that what you will. So, as a quick reminder, I gotta look at this. Yes, everything is essentially A for the ladder. This match is about to get crazy. Get out the ring. I don't think it was a good idea to have the way to get out the ring the same way put in to pick up weapons. That's just me, though. I don't think that was inherently a good idea, because you see, it's going to be hard to put them back in. And you can still use other weapons like a chair. But just now you just have ladders to play. We're not at the point yet where you could just pick whatever weapon you want in a match. That's the next game, but it's only tied to one match type. It will be years later until we actually are able to pick whatever weapon you want in the match. Let me test this theory out, the R1 and A. Oh, I was about to try, but Super Crazy got me. Okay, Super Crazy. He is not letting me do it. Okay, these people are not a challenge. I know the problem. It's currently on normal instead of legends. We're about to spice up because I was like, say no one's doing some crazy stuff. I believe it's on normal difficulty. Everyone's slow. We're about to spice this up. There we go. It was on normal. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to have the reverse health indicators. Why am I going singles? I am losing my mind. I will still be Shawn Michaels, but the other lineup might be different. You guys want to try out Shawn Michaels? Chris Benoit. Might as well pick him since this is his final appearance in any WWE game ever. We just used Edge with Finley, who also makes his debut in this game. SmackDown. Yeah, so might as well stick with him. I accidentally forget to cut off the entrances. My mistake. And as pointed out in yesterday's stream of 06 with Eddie Guerrero, unfortunately, since he passed away, they automatically made him as a legend, as they should have. And also, he's also not locked in season mode to unlock him. He had to have money. He's already just automatically unlocked at the beginning of the game, which was cool. And yes, this was when Booker T had his King Booger gimmick, kind of. I think this was, it's just the Titantrons, or I probably should have looked at that entrance. And yes, JBL has his limo, although I think he had it in SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, to be honest with you. Nice key and still in it. And yes, Finley makes his debut. Did John Cena even have... Did John Cena have that outfit in this game? I actually do not remember. With the... Is it button up or not? That's the one thing I don't remember. I think he does have that outfit. It's just obviously I think it's button up. Okay, now we should get crazy. There we go. Now I'm seeing people flying as I will try to get this ladder in the ring. Now, with their first attempt with this Money in the Bank match, they did do it justice. You can lean the ladder, and yes, you can actually, I believe, you can actually fight in the crowd with 6 people. So it was just very cool back then how they had no issue. This was capable of doing it. Now, I don't remember if I could do this in the PS2 version, but I'm pretty sure you could. I don't see why you couldn't. Like, be able to fight in the crowd despite it being 6 people. I just know you can do it in the Xbox 360 version. But no one took the bait and came out. Can I jump in the ring? Yep. Nope. I was going to say yes and no. But that's cool. Now that we introduce ladders, things are about to be fun. Not for me. And yes, they reverse like crazy when you have it on Legends difficulty. So just to show off, you're not guaranteed to grab it. And also when you grab it, it's not just grab and you win. There's more to it than that. This was a start where you have to do multiple things to get them. Basically, it makes it a lot longer. It's a mini game. That was the one thing I always hate about ladder matches back in the day, where it's just you one grab and you're good. But at least with Here Comes the Pain, they made you hold on to it for a little bit. The problem is, starting with Here Comes the Pain, they made you hold on to it. But the problem with that is there was really no indicator if you're about to grab it or not. It's kind of a crapshoot. But at least starting with this game, this has a full-fledged indicator of whether or not you're going to get it or not. That kind of rhymed. At least I like that aspect of the game. JBL really has it out for me. Hold on one moment. All right. Very good. If you're wondering why I'm keep looking back, is because since I'm using my Xbox 360, yes, I'm using a actual Xbox 360. I don't think there's any emulators that work properly for the Xbox 360 versions of 07. Because I actually own the game physically. This game capture I have, I'm just making sure it's working properly through OBS. It's just the way my PC is set up. The audio is the only questionable one. The emulators on with the previous games I've had during this marathon, there was no issue telling what was wrong with the audio or whatnot. I don't know why JL didn't reach for it. Boom. See, Chris Benoit thought he was getting it, but that's not the case. See, essentially, you're going to have to really work for it. Like I said, start throwing people out and strong Irish whip them out to have a shot as he even getting it. Hopefully Finley demonstrates what's going to happen. I'm going to let them have their fun a little bit. Like Chris Benoit is currently trying to take it down. I don't know how the heck he was able to go up there that quickly. I didn't even see him. I swear he teleported. There was no way he got up there that fast. By the time I was talking. Holy crap. Oh, I didn't even mean to do a finisher. I was trying to store it. Huh. That's crazy. I was actually trying to store the finisher, not, that made him bleed. Yeah, Snitsky's out. Of course. And now I get thrown out. I don't know what the heck Benoit was doing. Now this is the part where you gotta start throwing people out to have an advantage. Or at least bait them to come out. I don't know where Chris Benoit's going, but he's nowhere near it. He's gonna fall. The reason I'm not going in is, as you see, they're nowhere near the briefcase. So I should be fine. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't get on that side of the crowd. It's only that one pocket side. Even Booker T knew that. There was no way he was going to get that briefcase. And he got me because I couldn't tell what was going on. And we got to start throwing people out. That's the only way we're ever going to get any. Even have a 10 chance of the briefcase. I don't know what the heck Snitsky was doing. Start throwing him out. So even though I'm nowhere near it, now I'm going to suplex him outside the ring. Hopefully. Yep, so Booker T is not a problem anymore. And neither is Benoit. Going to... Never mind, Snitsky got me. Hey, certain points something gotta give. How do I knock out down the ladder? God, they really got me good. He thought. Oh, come on, I was gonna lean it. Is JBL about to do the clothesline? I thought he was about to do the clothesline from hell. I was gonna lean the ladder. See, this match is crazy. So I mean, so you can understand why, for example, the stamina system's in place, because had it not been, I just see this match is already going far too long. But I feel like it's gonna be a winner soon. But you can just see for this very reason, I'm nowhere near the. I thought I was. We're nowhere near it. Start throwing people out. Then we're doing the Celtic Cross. And now I'm nowhere near the freaking briefcase. Finley's about to win it. Oh no, he pushed him out. Alright, let's start throwing. I know I keep saying that, but we gotta start throwing people out. I guess I'm the only person that's gonna be doing it. Because once they're out, they're gonna start fighting each other, I believe. Damn, I'm like nowhere near it. All right, this should do it. And Chris Benoit goes away. I will try and climb. I am like nowhere near it. That's a nice spear. Roman Reigns would be proud. All right. You go recover my stamina. I mean, within the next couple minutes, I'm probably gonna leave the map. You just get the idea. I feel like there's gonna be no true winner, but that's why these Money in the Bank matches are crazy. I just let JBL win, like how Shawn Michaels technically. Yeah, I'll guard him. Okay, if I can't get up there, oh, JBL, you have one goddamn job. JBL, you had one job, bro. There you go. So it is the A button to throw it down. I knew I wasn't crazy. And I will grab that. Oh, of course he pushed me. Of course he pushes the ladder. Damn, so everyone's bleeding in this match, I think, except for Finley. So that's fun. Okay, let me try to throw every single I keep saying that, but there's just too many people. I'm the only person that cares about trying to win this match. Apparently. Excuse me. I guess even Snitsky knew from that angle he's not getting it. Of course he blows me. I mean, I don't care if I win this match. I just want this match to end. I could just quit out of it, but put too much of an investment into it. Trying to have at least these people fight each other. Yes. 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 Essentially, this could go on forever. All that effort just for me to get pushed out the position. Unreal. Unreal. Of course, Chris Benoit's in the way. Come on. You knew this was going to happen, Benoit. All right. And now I'm out. This match is really never going to end, is it? I'll give it 5 more minutes. I guess it's probably a perfect example of this game should probably be better played with friends. The CPU act like this. Or maybe it probably wasn't the ideal idea to put it all on Legend, so everyone's just literally going to kill each other. Oh, well, that works too, I guess. Also. Okay. Let me get out the ring before I screw myself here. And let these crazy people deal with it. Of course, oh, so Booker T wants to follow me now. Oh, you see how that setup works? Watch this. Damn it. Damn it. See, now I'm grabbing it. I just got to find the sweet spot. Okay, I got R in position. And he got me, but that was just cool. At least I wanted to showcase that before I get out of this match, because this match is going nowhere. You're able to get both in position. You've been able to pull it down. Now I know if I get up there, Booker T, he's gonna do his finisher on me. So to avoid that, avoid that, I'm not gonna go up there. Friendly, that obviously was an ideal thing to do. Okay, this match is unfortunately going nowhere, so I apologize about that, everyone. But it just goes to show how crazy the ladder matches can be. The one thing we would like to take a quick detour if you indulge me for one moment. One sec. Got it. All right. Hold on. All right. And ladder matches will go on forever. I've noticed, first of all, thank you for stopping by, Dizzler. Red Dizzler? Am I pronouncing your name right? I don't think you told me last time I was pronouncing your name right. If I mispronounce it, I apologize. That Money Big match went on forever. I mean, I can't, again, I am not the person to fault someone who's doing it the first time. So it is what it is. And I guess me putting on legend difficulty, the AI was never really that good in 2007 when it came. Because actually, let me showcase that for a second. One thing I forgot. I don't know if it started in 2006, but definitely started here. You can correct me if I'm wrong. This was the first game to actually have AI sliders. Now, this is the beginning days, like the infancy of AI settings. So right here. I don't know if this was in the previous games. I know I 100% remember it was here, but I don't know if it started here. So you can correct me on that, but where you could essentially bring these up to the max and have fun with that. But we're going to take a quick detour. That's what I was doing. There we go. All right, we're going to take a quick detour because we were talking about, again, there's differences between the Xbox 360 PSP and PS2. I don't have a PSP to show you, nor I do not have my copy of the PS2 version. So thanks to this YouTube video, shout out to Group M Pro, we're going to be looking at that. So just first things first, I guess I could just show you how even the menus were presented. So this is the PS2. And now here's the Xbox 360. The first one was the PSP. Obviously, and then there's the PS4 backwards compat, but we're not going to talk about that. See, PS2 looks fine, but then it's like, I was depriving myself of this game when I was a kid. Like, holy crap. I thought this was no. I thought this was okay. I know it's like, again, when you don't have an HD TV, none of this matters. But I was just looking at it, it's like, wow, I was playing the inferior version. It doesn't help with even the resolution shot right here. Night and day. But then the PS4 is upscale. And then just quick gameplay. Here's the PSP version. It looks how it looks. That's all I can say. There's still a few people in the crowd. The one thing you're really going to notice with the Xbox 360 is the crowd. If you obviously don't notice the models, the crowd should be the big indicator of how much of a jump in graphics, thanks to the HD hardware of the Xbox 360. Was able to push the game. So this is the PSP. Now here's the PS2. Again, this was the version I was playing when I was a kid. I thought this looked perfectly fine. Again, I had a standard TV. We didn't have HD TVs. So I thought this was perfectly fine. I thought it looked good. It's not like YouTube had HD back then, so when I was looking at the Xbox 360 videos, I really couldn't tell the difference, to be honest with you. If they were images and stills, sure, but otherwise, I thought this was fine. But then, obviously, we just saw the Xbox 360 gameplay. Just look at the crowd of right here, and then boom. It's absolutely crazy. I just wanted to showcase that real quick. 1 second. Yes. So remember, I gotta talk about this. So just quick detour once again. Remember I told you there's obviously you saw the 3 versions. The Xbox 360, the PS2, and the PSP. Now, I showed you in SmackDown Raw 2006 the back covers of the PSP and PS2 versions because they really wanted to show you. Yes, these are 2 different versions. We're not going to false advertise that you're gonna get the PS2 experience on the PSP. They made sure to show you. So allow me to show you what happened with the 2007 installment of this series. Here is the Xbox 360 version. You can tell because of the green at the bottom. And yeah, this is how it looks for the Xbox 360. Here's how they advertise the PS2 version. As you can see, there is no difference between what they're showing and the from the Xbox 360 and PS2. You can tell it's PS2 thanks to the stuff at the bottom. Now you're probably wondering how they did it with the PSP. This is the PSP version. And you can tell the PSP version because if you actually look at the text, it says PSP exclusives Road to WrestleMania tournament mode. So yeah, they advertised the PSP and PS2 versions look exactly like the Xbox 360 versions. I wish I was making that up. So, I mean, did they do that on purpose? Probably not. But I know a bunch of people were probably pissed back then thinking that. That's why to be honest with you, that's probably the reason why I thought the PS2 version looked no different. I mean, I'm a kid. I was stupid back then. That was probably in my head the reason why that was cool. PS2 me look great. That's what I'm saying. Dizzler. That's what I'm saying. I'm just gonna call you Red. I don't want to mispronounce that name. I'm just gonna call. Is it okay? I call you Red. Because of the case, I honest to God thought the PS2 version looked like this. And again, there was, even though Xbox 360 HD console, not a lot of, at least low to medium income families had HD TVs. That was a luxury. So me playing PS2, it looked practically the same to me. I thought I was looking. I agree with everything you're saying. Red is good. All right. I hate mispronouncing people's names because I wouldn't want you to mispronounce mine. Like, I just wanted to make sure of that. But I appreciate that. But yeah, I always just assumed that's how it looked. But there's no way in hell you could convince me the PSP version looked like this. I would have been heated if I had the PSP and thought, yep, that's exactly how it looks. No, it doesn't. So there's that. I just thought it was just fascinating. Now, they did correct that for sure with the SmackDown Raw 2008. And they made sure every single game case looked exactly how it should be. Because there were a lot of them, but we're going to get to that tomorrow. But I just wanted to showcase, yes. Now, here's my tinfoil hat theory as to why I think this happened. Remember, now, to be fair, this was way further. I don't know. We don't truly know when this stuff is made. Because obviously they're using press photos anyway. I mean, these are just marketing photos anyway. Here's my tinfoil hat theory of why I think this happened. Remember, the PS3 version was being made. Maybe they just had a bunch of them for both the Xbox 360 and PS3 because again, they were marketing those as those were the versions they were marketing to the public. They weren't marketing the PS2 versions. And this is the first time WWE games had to do this in the first place because now they have them on 2 generational systems. They're just marketing the one that looks good. I think they had a bunch of versions of the PS3 and Xbox 360, but since they canceled the PS3, they had a bunch of those laid out and they didn't want to go to waste. So they just put them on the PS2 and PSP and they thought no one would notice. That's just my theory. That's the only way this makes sense to me because with SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, they correctly did it with the PS2 and PSP. And then 08, they made sure every single version looked exactly how they should be, the back cover. I know I'm explaining this nuance of this. That is just my personal theory as to what happened. But yeah, I just thought that was cool. So now we're going to look at, before we look at season mode, I just want to show you pay-per-view mode because this is actually the last time it's going to appear in a WWE game. So just wanted to I didn't show it off in the other game because it was pretty much identical to SmackDown versus Raw. If you pick a sample pay-per-view, it was essentially, they tried their hardest to make sure it was the same. Obviously, they can't do a buried alive match. They could have. I mean, I'm saying they couldn't. They could have programmed it to have it be at WrestleMania, but they didn't feel like it. And it also doesn't look like you could defend the title. So I don't think you were able to defend titles in create a pay-per-view. I could be wrong though. I mean, I haven't. Yeah, actually, you could defend the title. So why didn't they put that in there? That's so weird. Huh? Could you? I'm trying. It says title match. Okay. Oh, does any of them? Who has a title? I have to pick who has a title. Okay. Who do I know has a title? Bobby Lashley has a title. And he can face Carlito. Title match. But it doesn't work. Am I missing something here? I guess it didn't work. I don't know. What is happening? I just guess it didn't work. But yep, this is just the last one. Just basically an archaic version of essentially the original SmackDown. I mean, I'm glad they kept it for this long. It's not a bad thing. I just wanted to show it off because this is going to be the last appearance of Create a Pay-Per-View. Eventually, down the line, we're going to get a sandbox mode, which essentially replaces this anyway. So, but that's way down the line. Now we're going to go into season mode. Now, I got to explain the nuance of season. I got to explain nuances of season mode. So this is it's essentially the same formula. So for those who watched yesterday's stream of SmackDown versus Raw 2006, it's essentially the same premise. However, this is what you call a never-ending mode. Allow me to elaborate. Unlike 2006, where there were essentially 4 endings and it ends right there, there was 2 alternate endings for Raw and 2 alternate endings for SmackDown. Whoever you pick, there is essentially no end to this mode. You could play with the same superstar forever. As you can see, like, I already have experience with Undertaker and Triple H. What I mean by that is, so there's specific, just like 06, there are specific stories with each brand. And again, depending on who you pick, you don't see certain stories. Case in point, you're not going to see the info. So I guess I should talk before I talk about this. So obviously, for those who are aware, this is the final game Chris Benoit is in due to the real life stuff that happened. I think we all know what happened there. There is a storyline involving Undertaker. Man, Undertaker just can't catch a break with these guys. Undertaker, Chris Benoit, and I believe Booker T. There's a interesting dialogue between the two that somehow, I mean, even though it meant nothing, obviously the events of what happened with Chris Benoit didn't happen for over a year later. Well, a little less than a year later. They could not have foresaw that, but they just can't catch a break. But what I'm trying to say is, if you play as the Undertaker, you can't get that cutscene because you're playing as him. You have to play opposite of him. And unlike 06, where wins and losses really didn't matter because the branching stories were all going to lead to WrestleMania anyway, regardless if you won or lost. The wins and losses, at least in terms of building up to the pay-per-view, actually matter. Because if you win a pay-per-view and if you win a title, you go one direction and then you go the other direction. Where for 06, it really didn't matter. You're going to end up at the end path of WrestleMania. And then once you finish the brand's story, you're going to get drafted to the other one and then do that one, and vice versa. This mode never ends. It will never end. So that is essentially what it is. I mean, if you create a superstar, you can start with either or, depending on who you picked when you were creating superstar. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I have not used Triple H. And since he is the cover superstar, you saw I was playing with him a little. We're going to use Triple H as a demonstration of this. Again, just going to show you one and call it a day. So essentially same menu, just slightly looking different. But the one thing I'm going to show you is the locker room taking on the show. So that's the storyline. But we're not in there yet. And again, it switches. I know this is down the line. I'm looking forward to SmackDown Raw 2010. For me, it's a sleeper of the wrestling games I love. What do you think about it? Personally, 2010. So It's funny. I know. We're actually, how many days are away from that? 8, 9, 10. We're 3 days away. So today's Friday. So Monday, we're going to be getting SmackDown versus Raw 2010. What I find fascinating about 2010, again, I've been working on this event for 2 months. That was the only game up until that point that made the previous game completely obsolete. You already told us SmackDown versus Raw 2009 eventually, but it's like, because of what they did in that, because up until this point, every game you could at least play back and like, okay, there's certain parts of this game that is not in the previous game or future game, so it made your reason play. When 2010 came out, it basically made 2009 pointless to play. Now 2009, whether or not it's a good or bad game, that's not here or there. It was just what they did with 2010 essentially made 2009 pointless to play unless you cared about those specific stories in that mode. But yeah, so one thing that that's the only game. Like I just found it fascinating. It's like 2009 is like the redheaded step. I know people have 2008 is gonna be very interesting to talk about tomorrow. I've been waiting to talk about 2008 because it's like, what are your thoughts about 2008 personally? I call myself a 2008 apologist. It is like the most diverse WWE game of all time. No one has a consensus of whether it was good or bad. You either love it. There's 2 groups of people. Normally, up until this point in the series, we have come to a consensus. 2K20 sucked. Here Comes the Pain's the greatest game of all time. It's not that shit. Like, you get the idea. Just Bring It was 50-50 in terms of like being good or whatnot. 2008 is like, the general audience cannot come to, it's either you love it or hate it. There is no in between. But the one I didn't love that much because the big thing being about tag matches is like, what I find fascinating about 09, because the marketing is what confuses me about 09. They had a mode in there that could have sold the game, but they marketed a tag team. Now there was nothing wrong with the tag team. There was nothing wrong with the tag team mechanic. It was definitely need updated, but to have your whole main selling point be that always confused the hell out of me. When I was a kid, I was like, okay, but the other mode that you have in there, it's like, why are you not advertised? They advertised it, but they weren't putting it on TV. They did not care about that. But they just want to show you the championships. Once again, you have to complete the story mode at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight title, and then Unforgiven. I always find it fascinating, Unforgiven, when it came to the WWE title. Smoking Skull, you got to buy from the shop. $1 Million, you got to get the Legends trophy and that. And also, this is technically the last game to have challenges the way they are presented. The next game would follow suit. They will have more of it, just a different take on it, but it's the last game to have the challenges that's been a thing since the original SmackDown versus Raw. And then your trophy. You already have WrestleMania and SummerSlam and Backlash. You gotta unlock all these, and once you unlock these, you get to unlock the arenas. And also a good thing, regardless of you get to keep the cash that you picked. So even though you're starting a new season, you actually keep the cash. And the cool thing, you can customize your locker. I always loved this as a kid, even though it means absolutely nothing. It just, if these are the little things that makes the game what they are, it feels personalized. Like, I know this literally means nothing in the grand scheme of things, but this is the thing. Like, there's no need for microtransactions. You just, hey, you unlock this stuff through playing season mode and whatnot, and now you can customize. Now I can put a plant right there. Little stuff like this mattered. It made the game feel personal. I know this is a bygone era where the word microtransaction didn't even exist. You just like literally put whatever you want in here, customize it to exactly how you want it, and it's cool. Like furniture, I can change the couch, like more liking. I think I even changed the floor, even the color. Like, it's so cool. Imagine they brought this back. I know there's the way the games are now, there's no reason to, but like, just imagine, like, stuff like this is so cool. And here's the challenge room, a thing right here. So Superstar, same deal. You do a certain challenge, an exhibition, eventually lock some stuff. Just another, if you didn't feel like playing season mode, that's just another way to earn cash. And just look at the computer real quick. Oh, 0809 was sick with the hardcore mechanics, crowd interaction, ECW roster small but dope. I love that time period wrestling in the games. But Trice, the marketing was weird for 08. No, the marketing was weird for 09. Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah, our marketing was weird for 09. It never made sense. But yeah, this was, this is what, again, I call this era, the SmackDown versus Raw era, was more of the experimental era for THQ and Ukes. Because SmackDown series, it was like a story being told through 5 games. They were building up the Here Comes the Pain. They perfect the arcade system. SmackDown versus Raw, you could tell they were experimenting. They weren't all the way arcade anymore. But they weren't fully into simulation. That would be the other developers that take it, which we'll eventually get to. But this was experiment. Every new game, there was something different. And guess what? By doing that, there's a reason to buy the next year's game. Nowadays, unless you care about a roster update, there is basically no reason for you to buy the next game. Because they just blend into each other. Yes, there's some quality of life improvements and blah, blah, blah. But for all intents and purposes, it takes 2 to 3 games for it to finally be quality of life improvements. Case in point, 2K26. If you look between 2K24 to 2K26, there's basically no reason to buy 2K25. Right? It's like, and it's just the way. Oh, we're gonna get to I can't wait to get to the 2K portion of this. I can't wait to talk about it because it's just so fat. Like it's night and day difference. So how one publisher and developers handle games and how another set of developers and publishers handle these games. It's just so crazy. So yeah, you can see I already bought some of these personally. Showing the legends, costumes, only 3 alternate attires, AAA suit, JBL suit, and Mask Kane. This was the Mask Kane we were talking about yesterday, where it was going to be an alternate costume. So they just put it in this version. And then the recent day games are trash. So I always want to say this because I feel like there's not that the actual gameplay I have 0 issue with. I can do away with the stupid Street Fighter and Tekken fighting stances. That would be nice. But in terms of core gameplay, it's essentially the best we're going to get in terms of either being Here Comes the Pain or 2K19-ish. So I'll at least give it that. The problem is the priorities. These are not wrestling games. These are just games that just so happen to have wrestlers in them due to the direction that they're pushing towards, with 2 very specific modes that should never be part of wrestling games. And I can't wait to talk about them. So I can finally air out my grievances. I don't think I've aired out my grievances when it comes to those games. But if they were just get rid of those 2 modes, yes, I know it's practically impossible because how the current state of video game industry is. But I feel like it's a cop-out. You can put out a game without it being microtransaction, be successful. There's multiple games that can do it. Like back and then, these games sold, and I'm going to show you guys how much these games sold, especially for 2007 in a little bit. But these games sold. But let me just at least get to my rant. There's still a lot to go over here that I have not had time to do yet. But yeah, it's just, this was the experimental and innovation era of WWE games. Now for Triple H and Big Show, we're going to play this match because why not? Because if I remember correctly, the cutscene is going to play afterwards, if I remember the storyline. So my brother was the SmackDown. He played the SmackDown career, and I played the Raw career. So that way we have to go back and forth. So. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. And yes, you hear the commentary. I'm that barbecue-loving Jim Ross here at ringside with because the commentary plays a part into the story. I couldn't mute this because it's part of the actual story mode. They haven't separated the If you say so. I probably should put subtitles, but they didn't separate the audio between the SFX and the commentary yet. When you're that big, you don't have to take a lot of baloney from anybody. Yeah, well, it's a Big Show, and this will also mark Big Show's last appearance. Just one. He basically left. He comes back in 09. He comes back in 09, right? Am I tripping? He did come back in 09, yeah. So his last appearance, he skips a game. So it's not really last appearance, but he takes a year off break due to the timing of how this game came out. And you already saw Triple H's entrance, so there's no need for that. And yes, this was the debut of MNN, and the only game that had Joey Mercury in it. So that's fascinating. Yeah, I forgot they debuted in this game. These games are like way too loud for me. Just a tad bit. Freddie Mercury, hella underrated. I mean, and he did a lot of stuff backstage. I know his actual wrestling career was short-lived, but does he still work there? But I mean, during the time he was working there as like a producer, he was helping a lot of people out. I don't know if he still works there. I think Tyson Kidd still works there. And I don't know about Jamie Noble either. Maybe Jamie Noble still works there. I know him and Joey Mercury were like the goons of Seth Rollins at one point, storyline wise. But they were really just backstage producers. I don't know if either of them are still in the company, actually. And what are your thoughts on the direction that they went with the analog control system, Red? I'm just curious. I thought it was... I never had an issue. Yeah, J&J Scary, that was fun. Yeah, it was a good time. But, yeah, what are your thoughts on the analog controls? I personally had no issue with it. I felt like it was just much more quicker to get them. I think seeing it from the outside looking in, I feel like what they were trying to do is have the moves feel more, what's the word I'm looking for? Flow between moves a lot better. Because if everything's mapped to one button, it kind of, yeah, I understand why people has frustrations with it, but I also understand why they did it, because the moves just flow into each other a lot better. But by just flicking your stick, comparing having 24 moves mapped out to one button. So I can understand that part. Like, see, I can instantly get to whatever move I want to with just a flick. It just took a little bit getting used to. Like, I actually forgot how to Irish whip someone the way he had designed. I don't know why the referee's in my way. And same thing with the alternate control moves. I mean, I know why they won't bring it back, because there's no need to, but I just thought these are always cool. It was exactly 10 punches. If he did not block it, it would have stopped by itself with 10 punches. For some rebels is great too. Well, we're gonna get to the combos in the next game. We're gonna get to those. Like I said, that's why I don't understand the hate for 08. I really don't. To me, the reason I had no issue with the direction they went, because A, it made people think of what superstar to use in which situation. If I'm in a hardcore match, I'm obviously gonna use a hardcore superstar. If I'm in a submission match, I'm gonna use, like, it's very simple stuff like that. Like, the logic makes sense. I understand like the ambition they were going for. And I guess when you drastically change it after 1 year, it's very mind-boggling to people. But I played it, honest to God, out of the whole SmackDown versus Raw series, outside of 011 and the original, 08 was my most played by far. Outside the original and 11, like 08 was the most played SmackDown versus Raw game ever. I went back to it so many times, to the point that I actually own it on the Xbox 360. Like, it was a brief period where you were able to buy 08 and 09 digitally on Xbox, on the Xbox store, and I bought 08. I forgot to buy 09, but obviously I can't do that anymore. But yeah, I just don't understand why you had issue with the game. I'm surprised you didn't freaking disqualify me. And he blocked my finisher. That piece of garbage. And this should do it. There we go. I believe the actual story plays out. You're making me want to dust off the old PS3 to replay some of these games, man. That's what I'm doing this event for. I'm trying to show people, because I know the current game is like probably the most it's like it split the community allegedly, but it's like there's other, like, I feel like we're in this weird era where people think you can only play the current game to have fun with a wrestling game. No, you can just go back and play other ones. And there's many ways to play it. Like, how much is this game? I think this game only cost me $11 at GameStop. I bought it secondhand. I bought Xbox 360 that for like $100. And I bought this a few years ago for like $11. Boom, here I am playing 07 without an issue.
Don't play dumb. It's obvious. He was in on the
Like,
plan and
we're not forced to play the current game, guys.
for a second. He looks as confused as I am.
He has this weird storyline with Carly. I someone's gonna let him explain
What's
what's
Carlito
going
doing
on here.
out here? That's it, Beats. See? I told you guys. As long as the four of us stick together,
The four of
there's
us.
nobody on Raw that can stop us.
I just love the idea like Triple H is associated with Daivari, Chavo. Maybe Carlito, he was upper mid card back then. I mean, essentially, if like certain people were in the main event, he was basically a main eventer for all intents and purposes on Raw. What wrestling game has the best of your favorite storyline? You see, now that's hard because I want to say pre 09 when it came, so because 09 had some very specific stories. So pre 09, I think my favorite story arguably was the SmackDown side of from SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. From the road to WrestleMania, we get to Royal Rumble. Because that plot twist, I'm not going to spoil it for people, even though it's like you can just look it up. The plot twist of the whole Teddy Long thing, I was shocked about when I was a kid. I was like, oh, damn, I didn't expect this. But then, depending on who you picked as the culprit in the beginning, dictated who you fought in the end. And luckily, I picked the one with RVD and ECW. So it was like, that was cool to see the ECW bit. Because 09, since it's the road to WrestleMania. Now, in terms of favorite road to WrestleMania story, that's a good question. I think it's a tie personally for me between Rey Mysterio's from SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, because that's like the only time you see him ever as a heel ever in WWE, and CM Punk with SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, which we'll be getting to soon. Those are my personal favorites in terms of those. But arguably my favorite wrestling storyline of all time is WWE 12's Road to WrestleMania. It was the most beautiful, like, looking at that, and when we're going to look at it, we're only going to show a little bit. Looking at that, I meant to go to computer desk, makes me frustrated with the direction of the game, because you could tell a great story in a wrestling game, but they waste their time doing whatever the hell they're doing with the current games. And no, I'm not talking about 2K Showcase, although it's part of a bigger problem, but 2K Showcase is the issue. It's stupid My Rise. I hate My Rise. I don't care. It's like, because it's the redundancy for me. Did I look at this? Oh, no. Where's my email? There you go. So here's Carlito.
Hey, man.
This is the new thing where you actually,
I just wanted to thank you for all of your help.
yeah, whatever this is.
Chavo and Daivari, we're sick of being pushed around by big domains like Big Show. We're gonna prove to the strength
I always thought this was cool.
and now you got no choice but to join us and help finish the job.
But we don't have a
started
choice.
on Big Show. I mean, come on. What are you gonna do? Try to explain things to Big Show? Think about it. Does he seem like a reasonable person to you? Good luck in your match tonight. We'll be watching.
Oh. Thank you for pointing it out, but you can hear me though, so 1 second.
Showcase got a reboot too, but what didn't change? Unlockables. And starting with WWE 2K22, some of the most surprising and long-awaited hidden superstars made their return. So let's jump into the first game of the Neo era and reveal who is worth unlocking. WWE 2K22 was the official reboot of the series. New engine, new feel, and a second chance after the disaster that was 2K20. But while the gameplay got most of the attention, the Unlockables told a story of their own. Dominic Mysterio, Rey's real-life son, made his video game debut in 2K22. But if you thought he would be on the base roster like every other current superstar, that was not the case. To unlock Dominic, you had to play through Showcase mode and complete the final match. Rey and Dominic versus Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. This was the first time in years that a current roster member was unplayable from the start. Not since 2K15 had the games done that. Back then, Dominic wasn't nearly as popular as he is now, so hiding him behind an unlock felt strange, but also fitting. Rey was the cover star after all, and the next game, it featured an unlockable that broke every rule, including visibility. WWE 2K23 brought John Cena back to the cover for the first time since 2K15 and gave us a showcase with a twist. Instead of playing as Cena, you played as the people who beat him. But in the second to last match, things got weird and awesome.
My apologies. So I think everything should be good now. I don't know why that happened, so I'm going to look at that, make sure it doesn't happen again in the next stream. So I do appreciate it. If you weren't there, I probably would have been talking and not realizing what happened. But the main thing is just wanted to show you that voicemail. And I also, this magazine, although you can't access it yet because it's after the storyline, I really just liked just the little things that mattered. Where after a storyline, it's like the whole WWE magazines, when those were a thing. It recaps the whole story, it gives your thoughts on it. It's actually a little touch, but it's stuff like for wrestling fans. Because again, it's almost as if Yuke's made wrestling games for wrestling fans. Who would have thought? I know, it's just such a crazy concept. But yeah. So we're gonna briefly, if I have time, I don't think we have time because there's so much stuff, other stuff I have to show you guys in this game. So if we have time, I guess I'll continue that story just a little bit because we got to talk about GM mode. Arguably the best variation of GM mode. It started out in 06, but they expand upon it in this mode. So as I said with yesterday's stream, the one problem with 06 GM mode is that the rivalries didn't really mean anything. They were just there. So again, it's almost as if they take the feedback and then they immediately apply it to the next game, despite the fact that this is a yearly release. So for we're not gonna waste time with the draft because there's basically no difference. We're just gonna pick the SmackDown brand and call it a day. You guys want to showcase what the new thing that they added. And here's the SmackDown roster. You get to pick whoever you want. We're gonna go with Batista. Do we have a legit tag team? I guess Psychosis and Super Crazy. Why not? My favorite GM. Yeah, this is arguably the best GM mode because the way they did it. The one thing I think what really did it. In terms of popularity. Oops. Oh, okay. So yeah, sort. Next, Kurt Angle. He'll elevate that title, and then the cruiserweight title probably should have Rey Mysterio. We have a bunch of champions. Yeah, like bro, I remember I would come back home every day from school. I'll come back home every day from school just to play this. It was so cool. It's so funny. Everyone always asks me that. I always loved Raw more than SmackDown, despite the fact that I was poor. And my family was poor. It's not like I had a job as a kid back then. So we couldn't afford cable. So we just were able to watch SmackDown. But I was always watching the Raw Rebound and on this offshoot channel. There used to be something called WWE Afterburn. That was my Raw fix. Luckily, my neighbors who moved in a few years prior, they always watch wrestling. So I always had to go to their house just to watch Raw. But in terms of me, I basically was just a SmackDown person. Until like a few years from now, where in this timeline of games where we were able to afford cable, and I was able to watch Raw all the time. But I was always a Raw person. Cruiserweight division was my jam. And I wish, when they brought it back briefly in like 2016, it was the greatest thing ever too. But they just never gave it a chance both times. It made the shows feel different. There was a reason, as I always said, SmackDown was basically the workhorse show. It was the actual wrestling show. If you wanted good wrestling, you go to SmackDown. If you wanted the most ridiculous yet compelling stories, you watch Raw. It was simply that, as simple as that. Both shows had a little bit of both, but their priorities were that much. Now, both shows, they blend into each other, which is not a bad thing by any means, but it's just like, if I'm watching Raw now, is there really reason to watch SmackDown for 3 hours? For some of the best matches, yeah. But that's what I'm saying, because SmackDown was the workhorse show. It was the again, the SmackDown 6, everyone used to call it back in the day. Back like 2002 to like early 2003, like it was the workhorse show. You go there to wrestle. And then on Raw, you just watch the actual storylines. You watch it for the storyline. So there's that. Spectre's All 7. I love this game. Plus, I really want to play Here Comes the Pain. Well, I actually have a stream for it. All right, I already went past this. I did a stream on that, so you can check that out. We had a free time. But thank you for stopping by. I'm going to try to pronounce your name. The leader of the leader of the Charisma Kids 2014. I had to read that fully. Thank you for stopping by. Wondering what this event is? It's a 25-day event where we're going through all the games from the main WWE gaming series to see how we led to 2K26. We're not playing 2K26 because everyone has already talked about 2K26. No, there's no need for me to add my input yet. We're just looking at the story of how we got to this game. I think the story of how we got to this game is more compelling than the actual game itself. That's just personally me. But yeah, so it's essentially a new layout from 06. The modern WWE kind of lost its magic once TKO took over. Which is, it's actually funny that you bring them up because I realized there was a bunch of releases. I only saw half of them. I only saw a few of them before I started to stream, so I don't know who else got released. Based on what my brother told me, there was many more people that I don't know. But next stream 2008, right? You would be correct, and that would be tomorrow. It's probably gonna be most diverse. I mean, the most divisive game I talk about because we just can't figure out, is this game good or bad? One side is good. I am a 08 apologist, as I've said before. I am a 2008 apologist. I will defend this game to the day I die. I don't know why people hate this game. And the other people just absolutely hate it. So the schedule is pretty much the same, but thankfully SmackDown, I have more time to work towards Judgment Day. So now opposites. There's opposite part there. Email, same thing. Taz, yesterday we had JR. Rosters. Pretty much everything is exactly the same. This is essentially the new thing, the rivalry. So you can have so many rivalries now. I agree. Is my second favorite. What's your first favorite? Yeah, what is your first favorite? Either SmackDown versus Raw game or any WWE game in general, I guess. And then so storyline. So here's the biggest change, which I guess for you to understand that, I gotta go to storyline writers. So again, they took the feedback. There was basically no point to rivalries. So what they did, they had, I guess, kayfabe or imaginary writers, and you can buy storylines to boost up your ratings. And I thought this was so cool. Okay, now it forces you to really think about the stories that you're gonna be playing out when you're the general manager. So like, for example, returning legend, since I don't have a legend on my roster, there's no need for me to buy that. So to save costs, though, I am going, instead of paying $100,000, I'm going to pay $50,000 with Loser Lee's brand. I'm going to buy that story. Would be the best attires in SmackDown versus Raw game. Okay. You know, it's funny. So you asked me, I think you asked me yesterday, where's the long form videos? I'm trying to figure out, what does the community want to see? I want to produce something different that's not being shown in other parts of our community. I feel like the biggest problem that I have with the community is that everyone puts out the same things and nothing feels original. It's like 5 people doing the same type of video, and it's not needed. What happened to the days of YouTube where everyone was original and just put out something different? There was a reason for you to go to that channel. I'm trying to be like that. I'm just trying to figure out what you guys want to see or just have not seen in a video before. Maybe I could be that person to bring it to the forefront. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So like the video I put out now, has done way beyond anything I could imagine, because that was something I knew was never in our community. But I'm just trying to think more outside the box. And hopefully through these streams I can figure out exactly what that is. So I just bought a storyline, probably gonna buy another storyline. Even though do I even have any women on my roster? I'm gonna buy a number 1 contender one. So I'm gonna do all of that. So rivalries. So the main rivalry I am probably going to have to boost it up, and I have a couple weeks, is number 1 contender. And the rivalry length is going to be, and this is the biggest difference as well, you can have these rivalries go up until like that long, the rivalry, so about 6 months, I believe that would be. But for the sake of this, we're just gonna go to Judgment Day. As long as they're still in the same program with each other, you can basically keep the rivalry going. So for this demonstration, we're gonna have Bobby Lashley has to be one good guy and a bad guy, and we're gonna have, who's the best? Randy Orton. We're gonna have them fight for the number 1 contender spot. I believe I hit continue. Yes, we're gonna start that rivalry, and then another one we're basically gonna have 2 of them. Just, I don't know. Good question. What's a good one? Let's see. There's a small up-and-coming OG wrestling gaming related channel called ZM I'm really enjoying at the moment. Kind of like that. I have no problem with you linking the channel. I don't think I blocked links, so you can link him. I've not heard of him. Dude, I know him. I watch him. If you guys can link him, sure. I do like modern. I just really like some movie features like the title side plates and putting him back saying it's You know, it's funny. Once we get into the 2K era, you're going to be seeing a lot of that, and I really talk about that a lot. So hopefully you're tuning into the 2K streams. I'm Adrian. Not sure if you heard about him, but yeah, I think you can link it. I don't think I block links in these chats. If you can link him, I'll look into him. Trash locker room. We'll do this humiliations. It's something simple. Oh, we can randomize. Yeah. I don't care. Just to get the robbery lane not selected. Short judgment day 2. Who cares? At least one. Yes. So you need a dirty person, of course. Don't care. Oh, it could be Melina or Regal. We're gonna do Regal. Why not? For United States title. And now we're gonna start this rivalry. So now we have 2 rivalries. So now, essentially, as long as you book some variation of those 2 on the show, and also you have velocity now, but obviously we add more people. That'll work out. So, for example, well, who is it? Bobby Lashley and Randy Orton. So now they're in a match. Pay-per-view hype. Everything should work out how it should. Simulate. Change show. So we'll see the ratings there. A new champion. So let's see. Of course, Raw. So they didn't win by much. So I did put on some compelling stuff. Right? I did put on a somewhat of a compelling show. Let me see the ratings. 3-star. So we're basically neck and neck. But essentially the same thing here. Everything else is basically the same. The vids are enjoyable at the start. Yeah, so just, is it at ZM? And then I'll look into them later. Thank you for telling me that. Kurt Angle. Yep, so that's what we're going to do. Wait, what was that? I saw something pop up on my screen. That was a new subscriber. Thank you. I just did not notice that. I know it just popped up on my screen, but I just missed it by like a millisecond. Whoever just subscribed, I appreciate it. They're just Raw's just throwing everything at the book, and that's why I still got only 40. Don't worry, we're gonna kill them at the pay-per-view. So essentially, just stuff like that. Obviously, I'm just what is it? I'm speed running through this. I'm speed running through this show, just to show you how the storyline is playing out. We got more unique stuff like a WWE game that could be Punch-Out game, or we get a Tekken. And I have, so here's the thing. I think people think I'm against that idea. Like I don't know if you heard me earlier. I said like I don't like the idea of them having fighting stances in the main wrestling game. I have no problem with, like, for example, one of my other favorite games is All Stars. I have no problem they do wacky stuff in another game series. Just make another game. There's no need to put it in the main game. Like, actually, I'm gonna hold my thoughts on the other 2 game modes, but it's like there's no reason to have the stuff that they have in these current games in the main one. Just make a different game. Who cares? Like, even 2K, I know 2K Battlegrounds was made just so they had enough time for 2K22, but it's like, just make another game. I don't care. And you know what? I'll actually probably be more interested in doing those things. Display name, not sure why the link didn't send as a clickable link. Also, I don't know the guy, just think his videos are enjoyable. He goes over opinions of the game. I'll look into him. Yeah. That's why I feel like, because I feel like these people are being showcased enough on YouTube, because there's just obviously there's top people in our community and blah, blah, blah. But it's just, I feel like what has been lost is like people just not telling their stories about these games, because these games are so unique. Not just even the old game, like, there's compelling stuff to talk about in these games, but just people just either do challenge videos or whatever, and there's nothing wrong with those. But like when 5 people do the same type of, there's no variety anymore, is what I'm trying to say. To make a long story short, they had their backlash show, which is cool. I'm just gonna see, hopefully with these story, we're gonna turn this ship around. You should have the battleground models for a kart race instead of a fighting game. Yeah, remember Crush Hour? I had no issue with Crush Hour. It's like simple stuff like that. I feel like I should be checking. Yep, I knew it was coming. So I gotta so the one thing I didn't showcase really, so which I'm about to showcase right now, is the You gotta make sure you renew people's contracts in these games. And make sure everyone, otherwise you're gonna have no show. So we're just gonna pretty much renew everyone's real quick. I've been playing WWE 2K16 so much lately too, and those are, see, there's been some, I'm not like, I know it's been like, if you've been watching these streams, the idea is like, I don't like the 2K series. That's not at all. There are some bright spots, and we're gonna go over those bright spots when we get to those games. But the problem with the 2K series, there's more misses than hits, I guess is the best way of putting it. When they actually shine, they're clear as day, but there's more misses than hits. And so that's why it just has the rep. At least with the SmackDown series, it was pretty, the only meh game was Just Bring It, and that's simply because it just felt like the PS1 game. Graphically, it looked fine. And the same thing with SmackDown versus Raw. 2008's not bad. It's just either you love it or hate it. It's just, outside that, every game was just either okay or great. God damn it, my camera froze again. I'm gonna have to look into that. Be right back, guys.
And Big Show, this was pure nostalgia. To unlock him, play the April 29th, 1999 match in Attitude Era mode.
So I'm gonna fix it right now in real time. I know the reason why. I know the reason why it's I actually want to try to do this in real time. So let's see, activate. There we go. We're good. I know why. So the way my computer, I'm gonna have to set up a different way. So just quickly, the way I have this game capture set up, it's in the back of my computer, and that's a USB 3.0 or 2.0. The problem is that my Elgato webcam also takes a 3.0. So this whole entire time prior to today, when I was emulating the other games, I had my webcam back there since I wasn't using the game capture. Now it kind of looks like I'm probably gonna have to either switch that or try to make my 4K camera capture work, but that wasn't working the other day, so I didn't bother using it. I wanted to make sure everything worked. So what I'm probably gonna do after this, because I don't like that happening if it's gonna happen randomly. What I'm probably gonna do after this is test out my 4K camera again. If it actually works, then I'm probably just gonna switch to 4K camera, because when I did that marathon stream 2K14 years ago at this point. Did I already renew your contract, Kurt? I don't think I did. I feel like I did. He just took my. I feel like Kurt Angle took my money. He just took my money. Melina, Jesus Christ, how many people have on this goddamn roster? We definitely need Randy Orton. How many people are left? Jesus, we're almost done. I just want to get to Judgment Day, just see if I was able, these storylines pay off. That's all I'm trying to do, really. Just to showcase the storyline aspect. But yeah, 2K16, perfectly fine game. No complaints from me. I guess I should hire some. Paul Burchill. I already have a full roster? Well, that's crap. The problem with 2K series as a developer is like there's two different gameplay styles programmed, not enough time to work on the mode. No, the problem with 2K, in my personal opinion, which is going to be the finale of this event, ending with 2K25, but I guess we could just briefly talk about it. I truly feel like there are like two different groups in this. I mean, they basically are two different groups. There are literally like two different sides are working on this game, and they just can't come to agreement what they want this game to be. They want this to be a wrestling game, or they just want this to be a game that just so happen to have wrestlers in it and just get as much money as people as possible. Like, there's two different sets of people who are trying to make the best wrestling game possible, and I see it. There's like glimmers of hope of an actual good wrestling game. But then at the same time, they're putting in crap that's not needed. Literally. And I don't fault them, because unfortunately, we live in an era is every game has to be like Fortnite, because Fortnite makes money off of Battle Pass. But it doesn't have to be. You can literally just make a game and it will sell if you just make a good game. I know that sounds crazy, but based on past games like these games sold. Hell, guess what? Spoiler, even though it's a big part of tomorrow's stream, the next game is the best-selling game in WWE game history, unless otherwise stated, because 2K is to put out the financials. The next game is literally the best-selling game of the entire series. And it's also the most divisive game in the entire series. So yes, and there was no microtransactions in that game. There was no DLC in that game. You can make a good wrestling game and it will sell. Oh, you just make a good wrestling game. It's very simple. I don't think, like, yes, it is possible to make a game without needing microtransactions. Like DLC, we accepted that. It is what it is, and it doesn't. See, we're already starting to get the fan. It's all about slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady definitely wins the race here. I noticed the crowd now. We should be good. I do like getting the velocity, and I think we should have won again. You see how now we're starting to build it up? Damn, we're killing it. See what happens when you have these rivalries now? Because I think I should be having 2 thumbs up, and now we're about to kill Raw. Report. See, like, we just instantly in 2 weeks we just killed them. Raw, boom. We're killing them now because the actual storylines are starting to pay off. I always go there. The story, well, one of them is paying off, Randy Orton and Lashley. As long as I have those two, that's essentially going to sell the pay-per-view for us. As long as those two stay in the same match at all times or in the same promo, it's essentially going to sell the show. Yep, another 10,000. I believe, are we at, so to make sure, we're gonna pay-per-view hype for both. If we're just gonna get, and see, we're gonna pay-per-view hype for both. Actually, no, we're gonna do some advertisement. And there, since they're both in it, so essentially, besides the World Heavyweight title match, whatever the hell that's gonna be, I don't care. We're gonna have probably the best show ever. Games survived for years without microtransactions, season pass, BS. They just get too greedy nowadays. Games couldn't look better or have better support, but they feel soulless and lose fun quick, in my opinion. And that's, again, I can't, you see, I understand businesses. I know people just have to look at reality. If there's a way to make money with little effort as possible, you're going to go at it. And it's not just businesses, it's real life. If you can, I'm assuming everyone here has worked a 9-to-5 job before. If you can make the same amount of money you can make in 8 hours, you can do it in an hour, you're probably going to do it. It's just that simple. And I get that. However, this is at the detriment of the people who are actually buying your product. See, there's different ways of going about doing it. It's like, if it's not affecting anyone else and only helps you, then it is what it is. But since, unfortunately, the money that they make is directly based on what the customer consumes, that's where the problem comes. And because we're gonna have to sit with this, and like, that's basically, where's Bobby Lashley? Where's my payoff for the story? What is people doing here? Are y'all trying to, y'all effing with me? Hold up. Why? What is happening? Why would y'all not book this? You see, that's why you gotta look at this clearly. I say, what is happening? No. The main event is going to be just a singles match because this storyline is about to pay off. Bobby Lashley and Randy Orton. Where's Randy? Oh, is it because Randy Orton's not a contender? What is happening? Where's Randy? Did I lose Randy? Oh, he's right there. Oh, I'm tripping, guys. It's all good. Wait, who's the champion? Is he the World Heavyweight Champion? Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's supposed to be no one contenders match anyway. Who isn't Batista? Where's Batista? Guess what? Batista, you're opening. You're opening the show. Congratulations. TLC, we're gonna open up hot. No, Bobby Lashley's a world champion. Is he, son of a bitch? No, it's Undertaker. Who is my champion? Who is my champion? I'm so confused. Bobby Lashley's a champion, because of course he is. And Kurt Angle's just a hogger. I see what happened here. Okay. I see. Huh. This puts an interesting predicament into things, isn't it? So, Kurt, you're defending that United States title in an opener against, I don't know, Batista. We gotta get that title off of you. Make me my money. If they want to make more money out of post-release ways, they could do it They want to make more money out of the post-release. What they could do is they because they have to sell character outfit, the character old theme, and that's the you know I'm gonna get into that. No, I see what you're saying. Oh wait, what was the rating? What just happened? Let's see. I'm about to answer your question in a second. It frustrates me because like we're pretty much we have to take out the middleman here. How much did I gain in? That's what I'm talking about. All right, that's what I'm talking about. So we're done with this mode. I just want to showcase why people like it because that storyline stuff. How are we doing with the fan support? And we are killing Raw right now. Yep. So to answer your question though, Adrian, yeah, I don't like my faction is so stupid to me. We had to play this stupid collectible card game that no one asked for, by the way. I don't think anyone asked for that, and I have proof of that, and I can't wait to show you. Night, bro. I'll see you next time. I appreciate you, man. If you stop by tomorrow, we can talk about SmackDown for Raw 2008. So thanks, Red, for stopping by. But yeah, Adrian, it's like there's no need for that mode. I think it's stupid. All you have to do is literally just have a shop. It's like here's the new attire from Rhea Ripley from WrestleMania, $5. Yes, I know that sounds crazy, but because we're just taking out the middleman here. This collectible stupid card game is stupid. No one cares. No one cares about this mode. The only people you can put up with get us a way to get the stupid attires. Yes, I know you're sinking money to it. I understand the business practice, but they will get way more money if they just take off that barrier of entry. They just simply take off that barrier of entry and just sell us the goddamn outfits. People will buy it. I guess because they don't want to. It's so crazy to me that the idea that they feel like they don't want to look like that company. So they're trying to package it and like, oh, look, there's a whole game mode you could play. Sure, you could buy stuff, but you're playing an entire game mode. It's like the end goal of that game mode is for us to spend money anyway. So how about we just cut the crap and just sell it to us in like some marketplace? No one would care. No one would care. But it just this company is so frustrating, man. So quick thing, we're gonna do a quick detour here. 1 second. We're about to wrap things up. Okay. So quick detour. Just a few things I want to go over. So the online. So quick thing about the online. So you'll be surprised to know, even though I can't access it. For the online of this mode, it's actually still playable because the onlines back in the day is not like how it was. This is like internet to internet. There's no servers. So it's like basically they're using your internet against their internet, and that's how they're able to put it. So yes, if I had Xbox Gold membership right now, and if for some reason there's someone out there in the world is playing SmackDown for Raw 2007, I could play them right now on their Xbox 360. The fact that these servers are still up because because the way they had it back then, they weren't relying on the people holding up the servers to whatever. That's why, despite the fact that THQ is gone, this is still playable online. I know that's crazy. Who would have thought? Nowadays, after 2 years, that game that you had all those community creations on and my faction, gone. So I just want to show that off. Another thing, as we go over here, just to cut content, been a tradition at this point. For SmackDown Raw 2007, prototypes and bugs are very interesting as well. So the unused text. So this pretty much kind of shows where either they left it in for whatever reason, or people that might have been in this game. So for example, this was Chris Jericho, was it 2006? Obviously he left. So, but the data was still in there. I think they see the WWE game with the other 2K game because those most work for those games. But it's like I said, 2K doesn't understand their audience. THQ and Ukes understood because the people who are behind THQ and Ukes, wait for it, were wrestling fans. I know there are people who work in 2K that are on X pretending like that they're wrestling fans, but they're not. They're not. I know they're not. Because the game is proof. Because they don't have to, no matter how much they try to explain themselves on X, the game is proof that they're not wrestling. So, but that's another story. It's just like, because the people who made those games, like if you look at past videos and just press interviews, the people of Yukesu, who are a Japanese company, they worked at these games day and night to make sure these were the best game. They're literally wrestling fans. The developers Yukesu, that's all they worked on prior to actually getting the WWE license. They made wrestling games. Like, they know what they were doing. They knew how to make a wrestling game. Visual Concepts knows how to make NBA, and that's fine. Do what you're good at. So, but it's like, it is what it is. And that's why when people always say, well, give the EA. EA is not going to fix the problem. Not because you probably think they would do better. They're not going to do any better in 2K. Not because they're not going to try it. They just don't know what a wrestling game is. They just don't know what a wrestling game is. That's the problem. So Chris Jericho, there's still some type of text and files in there. Stacy Keibler, who's not even in the game anymore. Joey Styles, I don't think he's in this game, but he's definitely in 2008 as a commentator. Tyson Tonko, obviously he's not in it. Orlando Jordan. Is Orlando Jordan in this game? I don't think he is. So he was supposed to be in this game, I guess. Yokozuna, surprised he's not in this game. He's supposed to be a legend. And then the staff and bartender, which was in, I know we were talking about the bartender yesterday, so there's still file stuff in there with her. The regional differences, again, the PS2 so in Japan does not have multiplayer for some reason. Now the console difference, I already went over this. And then that's pretty much it, the loading screens. So the pre-release beta, just quickly show minor differences. They had just the text on there, the music, how the loading screen was then, just testing. Shelton Benjamin wasn't complete yet. And then this weird bug, this very weird bug that when you create a superstar, pull this up, they're gonna look like that abomination. So that was fun. So it wasn't, again, it's not as interesting as 06 and the original SmackDown versus Raw in terms of cut content, but I just found it personally interesting. And now, yes. Again, we cannot end this stream without talking about, well, we could talk about the roster, but that's not really important. SmackDown vs. Raw's 2007 soundtrack. As I've said before, 2007's soundtrack. Besides, I mean, first of all, the rest of the entire SmackDown Raw series soundtrack is just thumbs up because, again, it's almost as if people who are making these games knew their audience. Who would have thought? But 07 stands at the top as arguably the greatest wrestling soundtrack of all time. I said it before and I say it again. If 07 did not exist, then the original SmackDown vs. Raw has the best soundtrack. If the original SmackDown vs. Raw didn't exist, then if the original SmackDown vs. Raw did not exist, then I'll give the 06. But this had the greatest soundtrack of all time. I worked on 2K14, 18. The studio management changes a lot. What my friends told me, that still work for them. Wait, you actually worked for these games? That's cool. Wait. Yeah, wait. Are you? Am I reading what you actually said? I worked on 2K14, 18. The studio management changed a lot from what my friends told me. That still work for them. I mean, again, but if that's the case, there's not enough people lobbying to make a wrestling game. They're just make whatever the hell they want to make the money. Which is, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But it's like you can't be a Pikachu face, I guess the best way of saying it. Surprised how people are reacting the way they're reacting. Now, some people are just reacting ridiculous. I mean, they're just overblowing the situation, but it's just like, you get what you're getting it. This is the fan base that you created when you put in these modes, and now people are upset. It is what it is. But, and quickly going over it. Non-point, arguably, they stole the soundtrack from me with Alive and Kicking Bullet and Below for Name. Stitches is one of my favorite songs. Godsmack with The Enemy, Bullets and Octane with I Ain't Your Savior, 3 Days Grace. This was always blows my mind because the album that they used for 3 Days Grace, where Animal I Have Become and Riot, great song. You know what's also on that soundtrack that they use? Never Too Late. How can they not put that song into this game? This would have been so perfect. If they would have put this song in there, then I would have said 3 Days Grace sold, like they sold the sound. I mean, like they stole the show in terms of the soundtrack. How can they not put Never Too Late in there? These songs are perfectly fine. Do not get me wrong. I love these songs too. But how could you not put Never Too Late? Because it was the same soundtrack. It was the same album. It was the same album. So it's like they purposely did not put them on there. It's so crazy. Money in the Bank. You always hear that, which is funny because obviously it was the debut of the Money in the Bank. Blackstone Cherry with Lonely Train, The Champ, Survive, From Rise Against, and Versus the World, Forgive Me. This is my second favorite song of the whole album, behind Alive and Kicking and Bullet for Name. Freaking Versus the World, Forgive Me. Such a great goddamn song. Yeah, I worked for them, but I left. But the management changed a lot when they started in 2K15 nowadays. Well, yeah, I mean, we'll be lying to ourselves if every company's not about money, but it's the way you go about doing this. It's the way you go about doing it. Getting the money is the issue. Like, people will have, wrestling fans, no problem giving people money. Look how much people spend money for wrestling events nowadays, especially in WWE. It's the way about going with it. If you just break the stupid barrier between my faction and the alternate tires and just sell them, no one would care. I think that's what I think. They don't want to be that company that takes that stuff saying, just buy the outfits for like $5. Do you know how much money they would make if they would just stop hiding it behind a stupid card game that no one asked for? Because no one asked for my faction, and I have proof that no one asked for my faction. But we'll get to that when we get to the 2K22 stream. But yes, greatest soundtrack of all time. I just had to. We couldn't talk about 2007 without mentioning the soundtrack. The slingshot tech. Oh, we're gonna get to that too. I mean, I'm not gonna fault him. I understand what they were going for. It's one of those things where it looks great on paper, but execution is horrible. I understood what they were going for. I know people think it was like a cheap cop out for doing the cutscene. No, I don't think that's what it was. They were trying to go for this documentary out. I respect the idea. The execution was just horrible. The execution was just way off of how they did it. It was okay in 2000, 2K22, 2K23, and 2K24 were just abomination. 2K22 was fine. It was just 2K23, 2K24 was like, yeah, they're just phoning it in. It was terrible. Glad they course corrected though, but I understood what they were trying to do. So real quick, again, I was talking about the sales. We were talking about, again, they do this to make money. Well, for 2007, mind you, this was their debut in the HD systems with the Xbox 360. It was supposed to come out PS3, but that did not happen. Let's see how well it did. Well, 2K earnings to hit 1 billion. Pixar, Nickelodeon, St. Rose, remember that? And I don't know why they're still calling it SmackDown. You know, at this point, we're 3 years into SmackDown versus Raw. I digress. The California-based publisher THQ had a good year. Nah, it's definitely just rapping to get back. They focus on Island. We'll get to that, man. That's the finale of this event. We'll get to that. We will get to that. That has such an underlying. The story behind the island is way more interesting than you realize. Not the actual story. I have no idea what the fucking story is of that game. I thought the story of how we got to the island in this game and how they went about doing it, I found very fascinating based on my research and the conclusions I came to, how we got to this. Again, how did we get to 2K26? How did we get to the state of the WWE games that we currently have? That's what we're going to be talking about. But yeah, again, essentially thanks to SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, Cars, I remember that was a video game, and Avatar: Last Airbender, they're going to hit 1 billion, also thanks to Saint Row. So again, it made them money. And also, for proof of that, based off of, again, people edit with PR, look, I'm going to take this as no one has denied otherwise. The top 10 software sales in December, because it came out in November. Look at that, SmackDown Raw 2007 for THQ. Almost 1 million in 1 month. Literally almost 1 million in 1 month. And it came out in November. And we're wondering about the PS2 sales. Well, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 on PS2 alone sold 484,000. So, to put that in perspective, most of the sales came from PS2, not even the Xbox 360. So if you wonder why they kept the SmackDown vs. Raw games for as long as they did on the PS2, that's why. Because the PS2 is the reason why it's considered the best-selling system of all time. That's the reason why, right here. Because it was still selling despite the fact you had an option to buy the HD version of the game. People would still just play the PS2 version. So yeah. So the story of SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 can be summed up as this. It was their first step in the HD era. But we just say the island is a cool concept, but very, very poor result. Honest to God, it's like the island is just there to me. I only play it now due to RXP, but I would never touch it if for any other reason, but it's just there. I am indifferent of that mode. I am very indifferent. I don't care. It's like I have no qualms about it. I'm like, my faction frustrates me, but The island is just, it's there. I do not care if it lives or dies. It's just not for me. But yeah, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, first step in the HD era. Obviously they knocked it out the park. The reviews, I showed the reviews there. People were saying the best wrestling game of all time. Despite, again, and they took a risk. They were willing to take a risk. They had the arcade pick up and play style since the original 2000. They completely abandoned in favor of this new analog control stick. It took a minute to get used to, but it worked out. So now we move on to the next game. And now this is the first time that you can literally play every single, whatever, no matter which console you had. Yes, even handhelds. We'll get to that. On Nintendo, you could play this main WWE game on every single system that was out at this time. But also, this is most famous for it being the most split down the middle WWE game of all time. You either love this game or you hate it. Tomorrow we're gonna be talking about SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. The great divide in WWE games, I would say. But we'll be talking about that tomorrow. You guys watch this live. I appreciate it. I apologize for the tech issues. When you're doing an event like this, you don't expect this to happen. I switched the setup, and hopefully tonight I'm going to figure out why that webcam was freezing. If not, I'm going to try to change some stuff up again. So I apologize for that. For those who bear with me, thank you. And for those who watched live, Neon Zell, Red, a leader of the Charisma Kids, thank you. And Adrian, thank you for stopping by. He said Island could be a multiple hub. Like I said, I'm just indifferent to it, man. I know some people like it, and I understand why people would like it. It's just there's no point of it in a wrestling game. In my personal opinion, it's not even a wrestling game. No one cares. No one cares. They're listening to the minority, and this is the problem. But that's another story for another time. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.